Part 2. I didn't know there was going to be a part 2, but after I got done with my previous video, I thought I didn't show what my socks look like now using Ann Bud's patterns. Now this is the sweater book. She has others. You can see my other video for that. So I'm going to show you what I'm wearing first. This is a finished object. I finished this last year. Or was it the beginning of this year? Wait, I'm in 2024. It was either at the end of 2023 or the very beginning of 2024. So this is made out of Lion Brand's Wool Ease Worsted. I decided to have a big arm sleeve and a short cuff. I decided to have it V-necked. So I just went into my book of sweater patterns by Ann Bud, went to the drop shoulder pattern, decided on the size, decided on the gauge that would work with the needles and the yarn that I had, and then I followed the directions. However, when I got to, I don't remember which side it was, I got to one of the sides, I'll just point over here, and as I was making the V-neck, it was getting really long, and I was like, yeah, that's not going to fit me. I'm not that big. So I had to rip out. That was a new skill I had to learn, because I had to pick up stitches and then I had to frog to that point. I did it. I was very proud of myself. And then I decided, okay, I had to figure out the decreases, which I kept track of. And then when I did the other side, I did it the exact same way, except for the opposite, so you would do, because it's the opposite side. And I knit the front and the back in flat, and then I did the arms in the round. My first cast on arm, I don't remember which one it was. I probably cast it on 5 or 6 times, maybe more, because I wasn't sure. Now the pattern calls for like 52 stitches, and then you increase as you go up, and you equal to 130 stitches, which this is. I debated, do I go down to 100? I wanted something loose and goosey, because I really did. I really like this style. When I was a high schooler, I had this peach sweater with a collar, and it had buttons up the front, and I loved it. And my favorite thing to do was to pull it down, and my knitting grandma would be like, stop that, you're ruining your sweater. Anyway, it didn't stop me. Being a teenager, you're like, I'll do what I want, man. All right, so anywho, long sleeve. I wore this to work today. I got another compliment. Did you make that? I said, yeah. Oh my God, you are so good. I said, I made mistakes. So I don't know why I always try to negate how good I make something by pointing out the mistakes. And then I think, well, maybe I'm just trying to show that I'm not perfect, and that this is a labor of love and a labor of trial and error to see how it fits. Now I am wearing a t-shirt underneath because I may get hot during this and I may want to take it off. So the first time I probably picked up too few stitches. The second time I picked up too many stitches. The third time I thought, oh, I got it all figured out, and I picked up just enough. And then it probably was pretty good, except I cast off too tightly. And I put it on, and it pinched me right here. And I thought, I'm not going to take it apart. I tied in the ends way too good. And I let it sit for a couple days, and I would try it on, and I'd take it off, and I'd try it on, and I'd take it off. And I just got to a point where I was like, I will never wear this whatsoever. It's going to sit in my drawer, and I won't wear it. I'll be so disappointed that I didn't do this. I just got to bite the bullet and cut it off. Now, I did pick up stitches, so there is my cast on edge. So I took a scissors. I never stress sweated so much in my entire life, and I cut it off, and I was like, oh my God, what did I just do? But because I cut above the cast on edge, I was okay. I just pulled out all the pieces. I really tied it in well. You know, if you're gonna do something, do it well. Anywho, and then I decided, all right, I like this. I probably started the first time I probably had, you know, the size needle needed for the cuff, and I had that written down, probably about a 7 or lower, maybe a 6. I don't remember. It's been too long, and I don't have my notes handy. My kitty's over there. And then I decided, so I use interchangeable circular needles, and as you can see, let's see, I will use one side, the regular needle, and the other side, a smaller one, right? Okay. So I decided that I would do that, and then I used I used a size 8 for the body of the sweater, and I believe I made the ribbing out of an 8, and the small one was a 7. I did 2 different sizes. So then when I was going to cast off, I knew I didn't want this to be tight at all, so I switched the 8 to a 9, and then do I have the notes? I don't have the notes handy, and I'm not going to go look for them right at this moment. So then when I cast off, it worked. I am really hot, but it's a really beautiful sweater. I love it. It's out of the color wheat, which has like some, I don't think it's acrylic. I think it's like some form of, I don't know what it is, but it's supposed to give it like this texture, and it's really pretty, and I really like it, and it's one of my favorites. And I decided when I put this on today to go to work that I was going to have in my closet, dresser, whatever you want to call it, in my stash, a sweater to wear every day. So like if a month is 31 days, I want a different sweater to wear on each of those days in the winter. So far I have, wait, let me count again. I have 4 completed. I have 3 more on the needles, 4 more. One's a half thing, so I don't know if it's called the cherry sweater, but it goes down to about here. So I have about 4 or 5 on the sweater. So here it is. Just a simple drop shoulder. The one thing I wish I did, and I probably will do from now on if I use her patterns, is knit flat. I really like knitting flat. I think I knit faster when I knit flat. I knit these sleeves in the round, and they would really tire my hands out. I was using a size 16 circular. I think it was a boy. It was one of my first needles I ever bought. So it wasn't bad, but I would just get tired of the same repetition. So I have to take breaks. I learned that. I have to take breaks. I have to have various size needles, various size yarns, various types of yarns for my hands to feel good. Now, let's see, I'm just making sure I got it. Oh yeah, I did modify the V-neck to be more modest because I work at a school, and like I don't wear this shirt to school because it's just, when you're bending over, too much is being presented. And I don't want that to, like, I don't want that. That's, just me. So I did a very small neckline. And the cuffs and the hem are the same amount of stitches. I really love it. It's a very roomy sweater. I enjoyed wearing it today. It was perfect outside. Um, it was glorious. I loved it. So now on to my next item. This was like my fourth sweater I finished because I made two for my daughter at the same time, but I made this one first. So I was working on this one and my cable one that I did. So I wanted something simple and something difficult. And I always wanted a circular yoke. So this is Lion Brand again. I got a really good sale when I bought this yarn many moons ago during one of the shutdowns. So that's why I bought a lot. Anyway, so this is just a simple yoke. I didn't have any design. I just wanted to do it to see if I could do it. So essentially, you knit the body to this point, and then you knit the sleeves to that point, and then you take, you almost need a larger than a 60-inch circular needle because it's so many stitches. So you take the bottom and you take the top, the two sleeves, and you connect them, and you just leave it open. You see? You just leave this part open, and you just connect the two, and then you do the decreases as the pattern states. And you can see the decreases. Can you see them? Yeah. So there's the armpit where you attach, and then there's the first set of decreases. There's a second, there's a third. So essentially you could use any motif on this. You just have to follow the pattern and kind of, figure out your motifs and whatnot. I did buy, in my years of buying books, some books that show the motif that you can figure out. That is a dream of mine. I don't wear this one as much to work. I've worn it like once or twice, and the reason being is it's too long in the body. I like 17 inches from the bottom of my armpit to my waist. That's comfortable. I think this is more like 18 or 19 inches. It's just a little long, and it just doesn't look, it doesn't look like this one. This one I really paid attention to the size of my body, the size of where I wanted to lay, and I really focused on that. So with each sweater, you learn a little bit more. I do like this. I have worn it like on a walk. Oh, nice and cozy. So those are those two. Now, I made a cardigan, that gray cardigan that's way too big. And then I said to my daughter, so this yarn here. So this is like the derecho. My cat's rubbing the table. You want to say hello? She's the only one that's brave enough to be on camera. And she's just such a sweetheart. Okay, down you go. Here you go. Anyway, so my original plan was to make my daughter, I'm just going to show you the back, a blanket using this yarn. I see she dropped, there's a stitch that was dropped right here. Anyway, and I was like, oh, I can't. The yarn was catching. It was really horrible to crochet with. So then I said, well, let me see if I can knit with it. And I could. And I said, well, what do you want? Do you want a sweater first or a cardigan first? And she chose a cardigan. So this is a simple set-in sleeve cardigan. And I knit it all in pieces. And I just followed the pattern. I made it a size small. I did the tapered sleeve because that's what she wanted. It was nice to work with because, you get to a section and you're like, oh, I'm so tired of the peach, and then you go to the blue, and then so you get a little bit of variety. Very simple. I did not put any buttonholes or buttons on this. I just did it plain. I picked it up. it was fine. You know, so you make it, you sew it together. My seams aren't very nice. But you sew it together. You sew the shoulders to shoulders, and then you put in the sleeves, and then you sew up the sides, and then you pick up the stitches around the cuff or the collar, and you, we're going to stop for just 1 second. You knit the cuff, and then you knit the, hello, my name is Anya, and I'm sassy. If you ever watch How to Train Your Dragon, I'm toothless. She's not toothless, but she's like Toothless the dragon. She's a sweetheart. Oh yes, she is. Does she get spicy? Does she use claws before asking any questions? I never ask questions. I just use claws. You want to stretch? Want to stretch? No. Stretchy. She likes to stretch. We're going to put her down. Oh, there we go. So you pick up the stitches around the collar first, and you do that, and then you pick up stitches along the button band. And it was real easy. And my daughter likes it. She wears it. She doesn't wear it to school because, you know, she's a teenager and it's not, you know, cool. So, you want to get down now? I'm so happy you came to show me some to love. Oh my gosh, you are so soft. She is such a pretty cat. Oh my gosh, she is so pretty with lots of claws. There she goes. So then I said to my daughter, okay, well, do you want a drop shoulder? And she said, yeah. Out of the same yarn because I had so much of it. She said, yeah. Oh, now I know why they were. Oh, I'm going fishing. No. Oh, oh God, no. They got my whole skein. That little stinker. Oh no. Mama was stupid. Yeah, Mama was stupid. Now I know why they were both here. Okay. Anyway. I'm thinking it's okay. All right. So I made her a drop shoulder, but I used a crew neck instead of a V-neck on this one. And I'm not going to go really into it because it's basically following the pattern. I tapered the sleeve. The only thing I did different between this one and mine was I knit her sleeves flat, and they went so fast. And I was like, I'm just going to knit sleeves flat if I can. So now I've also used Ann Budd's patterns to make socks. Now my first set of, and I don't have that book anymore, but it's a Kate Ashley book. Now this is my first time making socks. I did not have 2 sets of DPNs at the time, and I learned that it's easier to have 2 sets of DPNs so you can make 2 socks at the same time. But I didn't at this time, and which one is not like the other? Which one is not the same? I really do like this yarn. It's patents. I mean, it's very nice, right? So, which one is not like the other? I made it too loosey-goosey. There's lots of holes here and there. I had to sew up some of the holes that were being created in the heel. So that's why I use 2 strands of wool yarn in the heel because I wear it out so much. But this was a good lesson. I learned from Anne that having 2 sets of DPNs makes it easier. So essentially you cast on, you know, whatever needles you use, okay? So I use DPNs. I did not with this, but I did with this, I think. So I'll just say what I do now. So I cast on with US size 3. I do that for a certain amount, about this much. Then I switch to US 2s, and then I do the rest of the sock. Now, when you do, this is a recent pair. It's the same yarn, Clover by Patents, but you can see that they're different colorways. I don't really care. I couldn't tell when I was buying the skein that it would do this. I mean, I don't have to be matchy-matchy. So anyway, both socks get made to this part, and then I do the heel flap, and then I do the heel flap on the other one, and then I do the turn heel, and then I do the turn heel on the other one, and then I pick up the gusset, and then I pick up the gusset on the other one, and then I decrease the gusset, and I decrease the gusset on the other one. So everything is done essentially the same. It really helps with second sock syndrome. And then I do the foot. You know, the foot, the cuff and the foot, I can interchange both and kind of like get it to a certain point on each. And then when I measure it, then I go, oh, okay, this is right. And then I decrease for the toe, then I decrease the toe, and I decrease the other toe. I decrease the toe, Kitchener, and then I decrease the other toe and Kitchener it up. So that's what I like to do. I prefer Patton's sock yarn. I haven't used that many. I shouldn't say I prefer, because I haven't tried them all. But compared to Line Brand Mani Pedi that is discontinued, I prefer the Patton's better. I'm just going to wrap this up so I can show you my progress on my socks. And so this is the Line Brand Mani Pedi. Yeah, I'm going fishing for a cat. So as you can see, I'm on the foot part now. The last time I talked, I had just picked up the gusset. So I decreased the gusset on one, decreased the gusset on two, and now I'm knitting the foot. So I will get to, I'm like, well, you know, I want to get a little bit more done on the other one, and I kind of keep them the same, but I kind of keep them going at the same time, and it really helps with second sock syndrome. During the time that we were all home, I looked on Amazon and I found, I was looking for sock needles, and I liked Knitter's Pride, and they had a set of 6 different lace size DPNs. So, and it was a really good price, and I thought, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna buy 2 sets of these six needles. Say that 10 times fast, and then I'll be set. I'm really glad I did. They really revolutionary. It really changed my knitting with DPNs. I really liked it. I'm like, all right, I'm on 3s. And sometimes I have made more than 1 pair of socks at a time. And as soon as I get off the 3s, I cast on a new set. And then I just it was really motivating. I did it twice. I was making 2 different sets of socks 2 different times, and it really kept me motivated. And I like, sometimes you want to do something, but you don't really want to bring out all kinds of stuff. And with sock knitting, you can just go, you know, I'll just do 1 needle. And since you have 3 needles, you're like, yeah, no, I'll just do a couple more. And then pretty soon you get 7.5 inches. That's what I like for a cuff. And then bing, bang, boom, this part's done. Bing, bang, boom, here we go. My cats are fighting, if you hear hissing. I don't think they're really fighting. I think they're playing, and they're mad that I took the yarn away. So now, since I have this out, I will show you my colorwork thing. I still am playing Yarn Chicken. I have worked on it quite a bit. This was the finished sleeve. Kind of balloon, kind of like a balloony. I like it. It's gonna be nice. I'm gonna be able to wear something underneath it if I want. It'll be good. And then I decided the last time I recorded, which was last Thursday, I put a stitch marker right there. Now, I'm working on a lot of different things. This is nice, but it's big, and I have to be careful because I'm just looking for my cats. They're over there. And then I put another stitch marker right here. See if you can see. It's brown, so it's hard to see. That's where the sleeve picks up. And I got to knit 30 rows to equal the other sleeve before I start decreasing. I really want to get it done. It's really pretty, and I so wanted it done for Christmas, but alas, dishcloths came first. You should have started the dishcloths earlier. Yes, that's true. I should have started the dishcloths earlier. Thank you, Maya. Okay, anywho. Now, where was I? Okay, I have been working on my cardigan. I'm just going to put this in the bag that I'm working on. It's a little large. I just don't want the cats to come over here and grab it. They have chewed up my needles in the past, which I'm not very thankful for. I was really kind of like, are you kidding me? So I had to get a different needle because they destroyed it. So my cardigan is here. I started a new ball. That was fun. Sometimes, like, when you get almost done with a ball of yarn, you're like, you know what? I'm just going to get it done, and then I can change. So I didn't really get that much further. There's my stitch marker. I got maybe about an inch. I'm looking in the light, and the light hurts my eyes. But this is a slow going thing. It's back and forth. You have to look at it, otherwise I split the yarn. But I did attach the yarn, and I do it where it's like looped, and then because I really don't want to tie in too many ends, and I always feel like, at least for me, if I start one and leave the other, there's a hole there, and then I tie it too tight and it's bunchy. So this way it works, as long as it's worsted weight and down. It's a good method to put it together. And then one thing I have been working on, let me start over. This cardigan is with the Ann Budd book, just a set-in sleeve cardigan. I'm going to show it again, and then I'll show the inside one more time. Oops, I dropped stuff. This is a different sweater pattern, but as you can see, you know, you find your size. Hold up. Find your size, your gauge, follow that line. So right now I'm just getting to 16 inches, and I think I need 4 more inches. So it's coming along. It's just slow. It is slow, slow, slow. But I will be really happy when it's done. And I'm working on it, so that's the thing. Seeing your progress matters, right, Tallulah? That's right, Mama. Why do you stop me? Oh, because I want to say hello to you. Okay. So then, hello. She's so pretty. Then I started working on, I'm going to put her down, because she wants to be down. Okay. I feel like I'm all over the place right now. But I'm making a sweater out of this book. And if I am all over the place, this is part 2. You can read, Sorry, and she was attacking my sweater. I don't want her to attack this yarn. So I am making the name I cannot pronounce. Foyka. I'm doing this colorway, and I'm doing the size extra large. There's only 5 sizes, but the double XL chest circumference is 50 3/4 inches, and the one I'm making, which is the XL, is 47 1/4 inches. So it's not massively size inclusive, but if you have a book like this, you could probably make it into any size you want, which is wonderful. So I made that top-down sweater out of the pink, or not top-down, bottom-up. I made this bottom-up sweater out of the pink, and I don't remember which size I used, but to find it would take too much time. But from this pattern and learning about this, I can knit this one better. That's what I plan to do. So I had trouble casting on. I had too few twisted. So that's why I decided after the 6th time that I'm going to cast on more than enough yarn left over, which is my ball here. And then I'm going to knit, because I learned this with crochet, especially when I was doing infinity scarves. If I tried to connect just the chain, there would always be a twist. And I would always, it never failed. I would always twist. So I thought, why don't I just do what I did then? And I would knit I would crochet a section about a 1/2 inch, or whatever the yarn required to lay flat, and then I would connect it. So she sees something I don't see. I think it's a vehicle. It's an Amazon looking vehicle, but it's an Enterprise. So you're so good. You did such a good job. You scared it away. So that's why I still have this little opening here. I wanted to show and restate why there was an opening. So I knitted it flat, and then I got to a certain length where it wouldn't twist easily, and then I connected it. And then I did 12 rounds of 1x1 ribbing. I thought it was going to be really plush. And then I only have about 1 inch or so. This is not as thick feeling as 1x1 rib, which is really interesting. And this is using Alafosslopi Arctic Blue. And I'm using, the other color I'm using is Space Blue and then white. So I have to get to a certain length, and then just before you connect the arms too, so you knit the body, you have to knit the arms up to that point, do the color work, a little bit of color work here, same thing on this side, and then you put them all together, and then you do the color work pattern on up to the neckline. This is still the first ball of yarn. They're 100 grams. I bought this from Little Knits in Seattle. They usually give like a 20% discount per skein. I say usually, sometimes not. And then recently they had a extra 20%, so you could get each skein 40% off, which is nice, you know, because it's not cheap yarn. I'm extremely excited. A little side note. So I was at work on Monday, yesterday, and my coworker came up to me, and she knows I knit and stuff. And she goes, "Oh, I was at this place in the Twin Cities, and I got these mittens." And I said, "Ooh." She's like, "Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I got these mittens, and they're color work." And she goes, "I just want to show you." And they're, you know, blue and white. Dog's walking by. The dog outside, her name is Penny. Penny's standing in front of the house. And Penny looks different because she's wearing a coat. So my dog really barks at her now. I know, it's so hard. Yeah, she's leaving. Anyway, so she had this beautiful color work pattern. I think it was like the traditional snowflake or star, Norwegian style. And I said, "Ooh, those are really pretty." She goes, "They are, and they're really warm." And I said, "Can I feel your yarn?" And she goes, "Sure." And then I took my glove off and I felt her yarn. I said, ooh, because she's like, it's some European yarn. I'm like, can I feel it? And she goes, yeah. And I said, that's Lopi. And then today I told her, that's probably Let Lopi, because I couldn't remember the name. I said, I'm working with Alafosslopi right now, which is a bulky weight. And I was telling her how it really, because they're a hair sheep, and so it really does feel like hair. It's so uniquely different. So I'm happy about that. I'm making progress. I have been working on this a lot compared to my other projects that I've been working on, just because I so want a colorwork sweater, and I want to get to the part of the fun, you know, the colorwork part. Whereas my other colorwork sweater, I'm like, oh, it's just the working in the round, and working in the round, sometimes it's hard. So I'm debating with this book. They do tell you to use DPNs. I do have some DPNs that I could use for that, the size needed. And so I might try. The thing about DPNs that a lot of people don't like is the laddering, where you knit, and then I did really well on this one, and then you get like a space. Let's see, I have a pair on. I did pretty good, but where you get a space and it looks like a ladder where the stitches weren't pulled tight. So I learned from my knitting group, that probably from Anne or Ruth. Ruth was another lady who I learned a lot from. She was 80 at that time, and I don't know if she was driving around the country in her RV, and I mean, way to live. And also, don't let your age stop you from doing stuff if you're sound mind and sound body. So the thing I like to do that they taught me was, you take your yarn, and try this. You take your yarn and do one, pull it tight, do another. I set it into the next stitch, and then I really pull it tight, and then I do that one, and I set it into the 4th stitch, and I pull it tight one more time, and voila, I don't get laddering. So I may do that. I'm going to be careful so I can finish this later with my sleeves. I don't want to, just to try it, you know. And I don't really like doing circular because it's so tight on your hands, and maybe with the color work it'll be easier. The pattern does state, if you are a tight color work knitter, go up a half size. So the ribbing I did size 8, US 8 needles, and now the body I'm doing a size US 10. And then if I went up a size bigger, that would be 10 and a half. And I'm really thinking I should, with the way that this yarn is working up. So let me double check here. Showed my socks, showed my color again, showed my Lopi. Okay. Now, I got some Christmas presents, and I'm really happy. I've been wanting this book for a really long time, and I'm really glad I finally got it. It has wonderful patterns. I'm gonna just, you know, so she does some color work. There's a sweater. So there's cowls, hats, all kind, you know, mittens. Yeah, it's wonderful. She is very, I love this. I mean, I may not knit like her, but I can look at the pictures and go, oh, I see what you're saying, you know. You know. So it's a very good book. I haven't made anything yet out of it. I just got it right after Christmas. The one thing so like here's her working the first bits of this cowl. Now I wish and I know it's probably not the knitter problem, it's the publisher. I mean, could we get a better looking picture so you could see the whole pattern? I mean, that's the best one out of out of all that they give you. Here's another. And that's the one thing I wish, like, they just showed it. I mean, is it stylish? Sure. But it doesn't show me what it looks like completed. Here's, I think that's the last one. You know, so they're kind of artsy pictures, and yeah, that's the last one. So, but that's, you know, I'd rather have it look like this, so I could just like see the whole pattern and just go, yeah, I really like that. You know, sometimes you don't want to fly blind. Sometimes you want to know what's going on. So, you know, these pictures are pretty nice. They're small, but at least you get the sense. So I am really glad I got it. Her name is Kristin Drysdale, the Nordic Knitting Primer. So that'll help me on my journey. And then I learned this. So I grew up in the 70s, and this was very popular in the 70s. I didn't know the name of it. I just saw it everywhere and was like, ooh, I want to do that. Or how cool is that? That's neat. So Charlie from the Stitchery, it was about this time last year, has a video on Bargello. And I watched that one, like, I want to say at least 5 times. I was like, that is so neat. And then I was, so my every February, my daughter's 4-H group has a learn-in, and then the adults or other members, you know, students, children, whatever, they teach a skill. So you have these different tables, and it's like 4 hours, and we have a lunch. Like sometimes, like last year, I tried to teach kids how to crochet, and only one really got it, and he loved it. All he did was a chain. He didn't want to go back. He just wanted to keep making a chain, which was really cool. And then another station was make your own personal pizza. So that's what we had. That was our lunch. Okay, they made snowmen. And then the point of this is that they get 2 things out of the way. One, they have to enter a state or county fair and show their work. That's part of the requirements of being in 4-H. And so doing one of those projects, you can just put into the fair as a done piece. And then the second thing is that the children have to give a demonstration for their demonstration requirement. And so they would say, you know, like, so I learned how to do Bargello, and I really liked it, and I liked using the yarn, and I chose these colors, etc. So this is my first piece. I had some plastic canvas from a project many years ago, and I just cut a piece, and I thought, all right, I'm just going to figure this out and start doing. I think it actually goes this way. No, it's this way. It doesn't really matter. It's a zigzag, and it's a lot of fun. So I bought 2 books, and I'm glad I bought both. This one, Modern Bargello by Tina Francis. This is a nice one. There's all different things you can make besides wall art. Like here she has a cushion for a stool. You can make a box, which I thought was really cool. Let's see. Let's find the box. It's right here. Here it is. And that's just made out of plastic canvas. I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but so there, you know. So she's very easy to follow, very instructive. I like how you know, you can, so she gives you a grid, and then you can just kind of follow. So this one here is 4 stitches. Up, down, and you can go up, down, up, down, which does fill in the the spaces, but you can also just go up, over, down, over, up, over, down, over. I chose the up, down because I wanted it to have that thickness, and I wanted to see how it would cover. And then I got this other Bargello book. Who's it by? Laura Angell and Lynsey Angell. This one has more advanced stitches. So they start you out with, I'm just going to show you this. They start you out with the easy. You got the traditional zigzags, doing them in different ways. And then you got flame. And then Aurora Borealis is over here, etc. The intermediate, you get this style. You got some baskets. You got these. And then in the advanced, you have these. They're just, oh, I love it. Just amazing. And then she shows you how to do it. So I did follow this, like for the flame. You know, she gives you one line. And then you kind of just follow it. There's different, each pattern requires at least 2 to 6 stitches from what I've seen. And then you just kind of follow that. And then once you get the main row done, like look at how, look at that. That is just amazing how it blends. And they're all the same. The way you do it, it's just the way you use the yarn. So that was fun. I'm glad I got that. She does give you some ideas what you could do, like make a lampshade. Cool. And you know, she does have very advanced ideas, like, you know, make a whole bag out of it, which that's cool. And then she even, you know, you can even become even more advanced. So I'm really glad I got both because they complement each other very well. And I had another book in which was cheaper, and then I decided against it because of the star rating and because I read the reviews, and I thought, you know, I'm just gonna go with the ones that people are like, yeah, these are good. So I got those. And then my last one that I'm going to show is another thing I learned from the Stitchery from Charlie. I have known about this, but she really showed what you could do, and I thought, that is amazing. And so this was like on sale when I got it. Sashiko. And I just find it really, really beautiful. Really beautiful. So I like having physical copies for, I like say I don't get to this technique for, you know, a year or more, but I have the physical book and I can always go, you know, I'm really curious about this and look at it and get the wheels turning and whatnot. So those are those. And I do enjoy having books. I am more of a listener to audiobooks. I use the Libby app from my library because I'm trying to do so much all the time and I want to read, but I can't dedicate the time like I did when I was younger to read. So if I'm washing dishes, I can listen to an audiobook. If I'm folding laundry, I can listen to an audiobook. If I'm knitting, I can have the fireplace on the TV and I can listen to an audiobook. So that's that. Now, I'm just looking at my notes. and it says tails. Why am I only showing you a portion of my whips that I have instead of all of them? Because there's just so many. And I'm trying to really decrease them. And I really want to finish some of my stuff that I showed you today so I can work on to other things. And that may or may not hold true next time. Next time I might be like, oh, yeah, I really wanted to get this other cardigan done. And that one that I'm talking about, I call it the cable cardigan. It does have a name, but it's like, you need to do me. I'm waiting for you. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I really want to. And life has been a little bit filled with anxiety lately. I do have a history of anxiety, I suppose. I read somewhere or heard someone discuss it, and I cannot place where. Was it at work? Was it at YouTube? Was it something I read? That anxiety follows through the family. And I thought, yeah, I can see why. I mean, like, if I'm anxious, my daughter will be, and she does have some anxiety. My grandma, both of my grandmas went through World War II, like all that generation did. And one held it better, like the stiff upper lip. She was British from Liverpool, and she just stayed calm and carried on. But you could see when she got really, really, really old that she was riddled with anxiety. So I find that, how can I put this? This past weekend, I was filled with an immense amount of strife and stress. And instead of picking up something to knit, just simple back and forth, I sat on my computer, I fretted, I researched, I tried to figure stuff out, and I literally gave myself a headache because I was so stress intense. I'm still dealing with that headache, but it's not as bad. I do not take, this is not a disclaimer, or this is a disclaimer. I am not a medical professional. I am not a doctor. I am not giving you any advice whatsoever. I'm just saying what I do to help myself get out of that cycle of worry, of fear, of dread, of anxiety. So the first night I did it. I researched, I fretted, I became hard as a rock. I woke up and I had a headache and I was just really miserable. And I thought, okay, I need to move, like move my body. The best thing about my job is I'm always on my feet. I'm constantly moving from the moment I get there to the moment I get home. I am constantly moving. I may be standing at times, like in one spot, but I'm constantly on the go and here or there or wherever. So that helped. And then I came home and I was still kind of fretting, and I was still on my computer, and I was chatting with a friend of mine via Facebook and blah, blah, yada, yada. And then I got up to make supper, etc. And I'm like just so tense. When we had to go to a 4-H camp counselor meeting last night. My daughter's going to be a camp counselor, so proud of her. And then I came home and I was like starting to feel a little bit better. I'm like, okay, I'm drinking water. I'm not drinking coffee constantly. I love coffee. And things kind of were, I've made some decisions. I'm figuring things out. And then I got all my end of the night chores done. And I sat down and I started to knit. I was working on my Lopi sweater. And just the big needles. And I was just going back. And all of a sudden I realized, I'm breathing. Okay, knitting is meditative, crochet is meditative, sewing is meditative, making bread is meditative, washing dishes, folding laundry, something with your hands that you can do without a lot of thought can regulate your breath. And I remembered, as I was thinking about discussing this, I remembered it was in early 2017. And my grandma my crocheting grandma passed away, and I thought I was okay. I thought, she has declined. She was 92, almost 93 years old. She lived a good life. She had dementia. She was a master crocheter. She gave it up, and that's when everything kind of slowly went away from her. And I thought, okay, well, she lived a good life. She's, it's her time. And I thought I was going to be okay. Boy, was I not okay. That hit me like a ton of bricks. The grieving process was really difficult, and I thought I was going to be fine, but I wasn't. And I took her death compared to my other grandparents' death so much more hard. I don't know why. I still don't know why her death was so tragic for me. And there was other strife that was happening. I wasn't happy at my job, and it was just like financial and all this stuff. And I do have a thyroid issue. I have hypothyroidism, and I thought, am I on the wrong medication? My heart is constantly beating nonstop. I'm not even moving, and it's like coming out of my chest. And I'm like, and I just couldn't breathe. And I just kept holding my breath, because when I get scared, I hold my breath. And then I said to my daughter, I have this yarn. I had it for years by this point. I had 3 skeins, and they really, really looked well together. But I couldn't make anything substantial with it, because it was only 3 small skeins of yarn. And I said, so do you want me to make you a blanket? And she said, yeah. So I picked out some colors. It was Karen's Simply Soft. So I picked out some colors, and she helped me. So she kind of got to design it. And I decided I'm just going to knit stripes, and I'm going to start with one and finish it all the way. And then I'm going to start so there'll be big blocks. But I'm not going to have it even. So it's not like one straight line across and I have extra. I'm using every little bit of each skein up. And I was watching YouTube and learning things and doing stuff. And when I wasn't working on that blanket, my heart was racing nonstop. And I was really worried. I'm like, do I need to go to the doctor? Do I need to go to the hospital? Because I'm kind of like my knitting grandma. I will put it off until she walked around with walking pneumonia for a year. So, she put things off. And I thought, am I putting it off? Am I just making this up? What's going on? So I was working on the blanket. And I didn't really pay attention, but I was working on it, and then I had to go to the bathroom. So I paused my video, and I got up, and my heart started racing. And I thought, what's going on here? And I started crocheting again. And my heart was normal. And then I started testing myself, because I like to test the situation. How is this affecting what? So I then would put my crochet down and do something and listen to my body. And I was so scared. I was grieving. I was fretting. I was filled with worry. I was holding my breath. And I realized, I'm having a panic attack. So I worked through my grief making a blanket, and that really helped me. And I was really, really thankful that I learned how to crochet from my grandma, who just passed away. My daughter still uses the blanket on her bed, and it gives me joy every time I see her using it. I'm just like, yeah, that's what it's about. And I have my grandma's blanket that she made on my bed, and I sleep with her hugging me each night. So that's how I got over that. So I just want to say thank you. I really enjoy making videos, even if this doesn't like become viral or whatever. Um, it's just fun showing my work. It reminds me of the knitting groups where I would show stuff and people would say, "Oh, that's neat," or "Oh, look what I did. Oh my God, that's so cool. Oh, I remember doing that," or you know, whatnot. I do miss getting the little tips and tricks that I learned from all the other ladies. So if you have any suggestions, you can leave them in the comments. Um, but I'm trying to read my notes and not be so sly about it. So yeah, I really do like sharing my work. I want to talk about it so bad at work, and not everybody wants to listen to it. And then I'm like, yeah, you want to hear how I had to redo my neckline 4 times? I don't really have time for that right now, Sue. So I want to say thank you. Thank you. You can see my anxiety came out in my face. Thank you for watching the Cables, Lace, and Tays start to. I haven't been able to edit from my phone or computer. I think I screwed up some setting in my phone and it won't let me transfer the file. It always fails. So I've been just doing live uploads. I will learn more because I'm learning by doing. And thank you so much for watching the Cables, Lace, and Tails podcast. If you feel like it, you can subscribe or like the video. Or as I saw one podcaster last night, you can not like it too. And it gives me the same analytics. I thought that was kind of fun. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And take care and have fun. Bye-bye.